All right, so let's get into a quick, somewhat silly, but hopefully very informative Bitcoin update. It's truly a big day, the day of the Fed's decision. Yesterday, as some of you might recall, we saw something quite interesting. I had actually mentioned it here specifically within my group, and you can definitely check out my Telegram channel for more details on that, because I'm always sharing insights there, as you can see. So, just to recap, we were sitting around 95, and I pointed out a W formation. And as we often do, we typically take the second leg of that formation with a vector. That vector, let me explain, is what really confirms the movement, providing us with those key levels like 93, 96, and 111. We were keeping a close eye on those numbers yesterday, and we actually went even higher than that, believe it or not. We were at 80, and we impressively climbed up to 97,600. And it was exactly that vector, that very specific vector, that basically gave us the green light because it managed to cross the middle of the channel. A vector, in this context, pushing for a retest on the indicator, signaling that we're going higher, moving towards the top of the channel. And now, as we approach the top of the channel, well, you're probably wondering what's happening next, what our move should be, right? Obviously, this is a monumental day for the markets. It's the day of the Fed's decision. If they decide to cut interest rates, oh my goodness, things are going to absolutely explode. You can bet on that. People are definitely on edge, waiting for this announcement, with bated breath, as they say. Okay, so if we take a moment and shift our focus to the weekly chart, just to get a broader perspective on what's unfolding, I'm currently looking at Bitcoin, spelled as Bitcoin, and we're analyzing Bitcoin's performance. As you can see,
So honestly, there's no need to stress about Bitcoin, despite what you might hear from people panicking, crying out that it's the end of the world. I don't know what they're talking about, because Bitcoin is clearly on an upward trend. Personally, I've moved away from solely trading chart patterns. Instead, I primarily rely on my specialized indicator, which helps me identify key support and resistance levels. When the indicator signals a change of character in the candle formation, that's often when I consider entering a trade. And if you're in a perpetual futures contract, that trade usually remains valid for quite some time. Now, let me tell you, that dangerous zone, the one I mentioned earlier around $100,000, if you look closely, that $100,000 level perfectly aligns with the two distinct lines on my indicator. These two lines on my indicator are notoriously difficult to cross, and I cannot emphasize this enough. It requires a vector, a significant surge of momentum. Without a vector, you simply cannot break through them, okay? So if you were to see, for instance, a situation where there isn't a vector, even if the price is attempting to rise, you'll eventually see a red dot making an appearance right here. This happens because, as you can see, we have a red dot forming on the lower indicator right now. And as the price climbs, it's eventually going to hit that red dot, and that will be your cue, your signal to consider exiting your position, or perhaps closing your perpetual trade. Now, of course, this isn't financial advice, but it's what I personally observe and how I interpret these market signals. Now, let's zoom in a bit and look at a smaller time frame, which is essentially our push upwards in itself. This particular formation is what we call a trigger wave, and it's an incredibly powerful signal, as you can see. Okay, so when you see a wave forming like this, for new traders or those less experienced, you don't jump into the trade immediately. You wait. You patiently wait for that red dot to appear, which signifies the presence of a trigger wave and also indicates a potential divergence, all right? And these divergences, believe me, are always worth paying attention to, especially when they show up across various time frames, like the 4-hour chart, where you might see one.